Every time I go to Costco, I walk in super confident I'm gonna spend $100. And then I check the grand total of my receipt. What? $300 something every single time. Turns out I'm not actually spending all that money on food, although my God, does their rotisserie chicken lead magnet work like a charm, convincing me it's essential. So what am I spending money on? What do we spend our money on that makes grocery bills so high? Snacks, impulse treats, extras. I didn't even realize we're eating up my grocery store bill. And then, here's the cool part. And then I found a stupidly simple trick that forced me to see exactly where my grocery money was going before I ever left the store. And it's free, no electronics required. And today, I'm sharing it with you so you can lower that grocery bill. So grab yourself your cup of coffee and let's catch up today on today's episode of Lady Boss of Finance. If you've ever been afraid to log into your credit card statement because you just know your grocery total is going to make you do that cringe, you're not alone. But here's the hidden and very real problem. We see groceries as one giant expense. You buy your things, you get one receipt at the end, and that's the number you remember. But here's the secret truth. Your grocery bill isn't what you think it is. It's produce and snacks. It's food and booze. It's cleaning supplies and that one Reese's peanut butter cup you just had to get as you were waiting in that checkout line. When every category gets lumped together, it's easy to feel like you just didn't have a choice, that's what your grocery bill has to be, that you had to spend that much. And I definitely thought that until a single Costco trip's grand total made me completely rethink my spending habits. The bill, my God, it was so painful, and I just remember thinking, is there a super simple, free, foolproof way to see where my money is going before I get that final receipt of dread? Turns out, yes. And today, I'm sharing that grocery store hack with you. But first, let's go back to COVID-era shopping trips of toilet paper, and we're gonna dive into my confessional story about one Costco trip that cost me, way more than I expected. We're back at the height of the pandemic, 2020. Stay with me, not all dark times. We remember it well though. Like most people, I thought lockdowns, they would maybe last a few weeks. And then a few months, and then suddenly, working from home, it just became the new normal. And there were perks, let me tell you. No commute, more work-life balance, and flexible schedules. But there was also a downside. As we remember, I was home, we were home a lot. And before the pandemic, I commuted into downtown LA 5 days a week and worked at an investment management company. So you know what that means? That means Fridays, oh boy, that was happy hours with the girlfriends where we would unwind with cocktails after, way too long of a week. But now, in 2020, we were all stuck from home. So instead of Friday happy hours, I started pouring myself a very generous pour of wine at home, or 2 glasses, or 3. We're not judging, right? This is a confessional story. It was cheaper, it was easier, and it became a daily habit without me realizing it. And since Costco was my go-to store for alcohol, meat, and essentials, I never really questioned my spending. With supply chain shortages, inflation, and bulk pricing, I just assumed it was normal to spend a few $100s per trip. Fast forward to 2022. I decided to try dry January. Some of my friends were doing it, and I figured it would be a good way to reset. I was feeling a little slushy, had to do a nice little reset button. And not only did I feel better physically, but my Costco receipts way cheaper. Go figure. And that's when it hit me. How much of my Costco bill was actually alcohol? It was easy-ish to get that awareness in dry January, but what about after, in February, when February would then roll around? What I really needed was a way to track and gain mindfulness of a non-dry alcohol life, especially because I did not want to keep a super slushy lifestyle anymore. I didn't want high grocery store bills. I also wanted to still enjoy a glass of wine every now and then. So in February, when dry January ended, I decided to run a little experiment. What I didn't realize at the time was that I had built a habit loop around my grocery spending. What? Hold on a second. Habit loop? Jargon alert. Yes, it is. So let me explain. What's a habit loop? Well, we got the deets by James Clear in his book called Atomic Habits. Link in the description if you'd like that book. But what's the TLDR? Well, the TLDR is that our habits follow a super predictable cycle. Number 1, cue. Number 2, craving. 3, response. And 4, reward. And every time we repeat this cycle, the habit gets stronger until we're doing it, whatever that habit is, without thinking. And when it comes to spending money, that cycle can very quietly drain your budget without you even realizing it. And that's exactly what happened with my Costco trips. I thought I was being smart, buying in bulk, stocking up, avoiding extra store runs. But the reality, I was reinforcing a behavior I wasn't even aware of. Let's go into the details. Cue, walking into Costco, expecting to stock up just on the essentials. 2, craving, the mental reminder that, I should buy alcohol, not one bottle, but in bulk to avoid future trips. Number 3, response, tossing wine into the cart because future me would appreciate it. And number 4, reward, feeling smart about bulk purchases until I see my bill. That's when I decided to disrupt the cycle with a simple free trick. Every time I went to Costco, I separated my purchases into 2 sections on the conveyor belt. Receipt number 1, alcohol only, and receipt number 2, everything else. And those 2 little receipts, they expose the reality of my spending. Some weeks, my alcohol receipt was shockingly high because I was buying in bulk. I wasn't necessarily drinking all of it in that week, but I was buying it in bulk. Other weeks, I didn't buy alcohol at all. And so my total bill was so much lower. And that's when I realized my grocery bill wasn't just the cost of shopping at Costco. It was a spending pattern I had built without knowing it. And now, every time I shop, I use this right here 2 receipt trick in not 1, not 2, but 3 different ways to make sure I actually know where my money is going long before I pay for my groceries. So how can you use this in your own life? Well, I'm gonna take a little sip of coffee because glad you asked. How can you apply the 2 receipt trick in your own life? I have 3 pro tips for you. 1, as you walk confidently into that grocery store. 1, as you walk up to the checkout lane. And 1, as you're in the checkout lane itself. And let's start at the top. Pro tip number 1, shop back to front, aka essentials first. Here's the dirty little truth. Most grocery stores are designed like Las Vegas casinos, forcing you to walk past high margin items first before you reach your essentials, things like milk, eggs, and bread. So what's a smart girly to do? Gonna flip that strategy. Start immediately at the back of the store where your real essentials are. Not those Reese's peanut butter cups, I'm talking those milk, I'm talking about the eggs. Get everything on your must-have list first before those temptation zones. Because here's the thing, if your cart is full by the time you reach the front, impulse buys seemingly and suddenly seem less necessary. Why does this tip work? Because you fill your cart with needs first, so both mentally and physically, you leave less room for impulse buys. And you skip that psychological trap of walking past temptations first. Pro tip number 2, bundle your buckets together before checkout. So before you hit that checkout line, do one last cart check. Scan your items as if your cart is a spending snapshot of your habits, and identify just one impulse buy, just one that you can put back. Now don't worry, hang on, stick with me because this is not a restriction. What you're going to do is you're going to swap that impulse buy for a better value product. For example, let's say you went into Costco and you bought 3 or are in the process of buying 3 bottles of wine. Maybe you put 1 bottle of wine back and you get a specialty ingredient or that specialty spice instead. Why does this tip work? It keeps your small indulgences in place, but it improves your value. So if you're not ready, or if you don't want to cut out your treats at least 100%, you at least prevent impulse buys from overtaking your cart without giving you more value. Think of it like an impulse unbuy, because small wins like this, oh man, they add up over time. Pro tip number 3, split your checkout into 2 transactions. Instead of treating your grocery bill as one single unavoidable expense, turn it into a game of curiosity. Pick 2 categories, 2 buckets that you're just more curious to learn more about. Some ideas: alcohol versus non-alcohol, meat versus produce, impulse snacks versus essentials. What did I do this week? Impulse buys, we have those right here, and we have everyday essentials right here. And what you're going to do is use the divider bar at the checkout and then say you just have 2 transactions. So you're gonna get 2 receipts, 1 for each category. Nobody cares what you're doing, by the way, even if it feels new and a little weird to you. And the cool part about it, no spreadsheets, no tracking apps, just 2 simple numbers you can look at later. For me, I spent on this receipt right here $120 on my everyday essential Costco trip. Same trip, different transaction, $23 on impulse buys. We had 1 rotisserie chicken and 2 pressurized bottles of juice. Why does this tip work? It interrupts automatic spending habits and makes unconscious spending visible. My grand $143 Costco trip, with my 2 receipts, I now know 16% of what I spent money on, it was all impulse stuff. And am I okay with that? Well, let's answer that question in our big takeaway message. What's our big takeaway message here? Grocery shopping, it's not just about food, it's about habits. And habits, if left on autopilot, shape our spending way more than our budgets ever will. The moment you see your grocery bill as a reflection of your habits and not just needs, everything else shifts. Because here's the thing, money moves where habits tell it to go. And for most of us, that means groceries aren't just groceries. They're routines, defaults, autopilot decisions, ones we rarely question. But the second you turn grocery shopping into a game of curiosity rather than just some passive expense or some chore you have to do, you start seeing the patterns that used to be invisible. And my latest Costco pattern, it revealed that when I splurge, it's about convenience and wellness vibes. It shows that my unconscious spending, it's not random. It's emotionally driven by a desire to feel better now and not just be better later. And that's what mindful money is all about. It's not about guilt and it's not about restriction. It's about seeing clearly, making small shifts, and ultimately controlling your money instead of letting it control you and have it be the other way around. So go get those groceries you need and then come back to this video and tell me, what shocked you the most when you put those groceries in your 2 different buckets? Which shocked me with mine, 2, not 1, but 2 pressed juices. Comment below, and here's the cool part. Come back after a few weeks, not a few days, but a few weeks, and comment again on what hidden patterns you uncovered. I'd love to hear from you. And if this made you just a little bit rethink your grocery bill, hit that like and subscribe, because we've got a lot more to catch up and talk about in our next coffee chat here on Lady Boss of Finance.